Are you contradicting your manifestation process? I'm going to tell you how you're doing this belief, this pattern, this unconscious programming that's slowing things down from you and is keeping you from getting what you want. Okay, make sure you stick around for the entire video. It's going to give you a lot of powerful information to shift you into the state of being and having and operating from the version of you who always gets what they want. Okay, welcome to my channel. I am Patty. I'm a manifestation coach, transformational coach, and I focus on you stepping into your power. I'm only your guide so that you operate from the version of you who is worthy of living the life of their dreams. You are the powerful one. You are the powerful creator. You are the guru. You are the savior. You are the healer because you're connected to source. You're connected to infinite intelligence. I'm just a guide. And most of the coaches in here, it has transformed their lives. And so they're teaching you what they have learned. And that's essentially what I'm doing because this stuff is life-changing. It has changed my life. Okay, so how are you contradicting your manifestations and getting what you want, especially if you feel like nothing's changing and it's a slow process? And actually, in my last video, if you go look at it, there's a comment, and I forgot your name, but somebody was trying to manifest a bike, and they said, I'm trying to manifest this and $50,000, and then a comma, and the second part of that sentence is, but it's a slow process, and I'm not getting what I want. And really, that's the core belief. That's what they're manifesting, the slow process and not getting what they want. And if you're operating from that version of you, that's what you're pushing out. And that's what the mirror, the 3D, is reflecting back to you. Okay, so let's talk about the contradiction. And I actually got this phrase or this term, and I love the way she phrased it from a client of mine. We were in a coaching session today, in a coaching group, a group coaching that I do. And it's fantastic. And the women in there are phenomenal. And we're leveling each other up. And I'm going to start doing these a couple of times a year. So right now we're in week 3. We have 1 week left. But if you want to sign up for my next one, make sure you're watching and keeping track because I'll have another one in the next couple of months. Okay, because it's some powerful shifts that we're going through in there. So we were talking about shifting into the state of being and having, how to shift a limiting belief, how to flip it. And one of the things she said, and I told her, I'm going to borrow this. You gave me the idea, but thank you, Chris. Thank you for this. Shout out to her, to Chris, to Christine, because when she said, as long as you don't contradict it, it'll show up. And she knows a lot about manifesting, but she had some stuck points, some blocks. They're not really blocks. We magnify them and make them blocks, but everything is the same. Manifesting a button as it is a castle, as Abraham Hicks says. And so one of the things is if you're affirming and you're doing your techniques, as long as you're not contradicting the belief, it will show up. Let's talk about how you contradict the belief. So you're affirming, you're saying my SP loves me, my SP always treats me well, but then something happens in your 3D based on old versions of you and you react. And then you start with your self-talk and your self-dialogue. See, he doesn't love me. See, he doesn't care for me. See, I never get what I want. I'm not good enough. It's not going to happen. Or you want to manifest money and you talk to somebody who projects their limiting belief and says, that's not going to happen. You're never going to get that. And then you default to old programming or telling yourself and affirming old beliefs, old limiting beliefs that don't serve you, that, yeah, I'm just not good enough. I just don't get what I want. It's never going to happen. But then what about this? And what about this? And you start what-ifing it and doubting it, and you let fears take over, and you're contradicting any techniques and any work and anything you're doing around drawing in what you want. And what I have found is that aligning with what you want is all about releasing old versions of you. That includes the old thoughts, which leads to the states, to behaviors that are no longer serving you. And anytime you get awareness, anytime you catch yourself, you interrupt that pattern and bring yourself back to, who am I? And who do I want to be? Who am I operating as right now? Am I operating from the version of me from the state of fear and doubt and lack and not good enough and not worthy? Or am I operating from the version of me who is so confident and so secure and knows your worth and value and knows that it's going to come? I don't know how. some way, somehow, things are going to align because that's the law of assumption. Once you create from within and commit to that, that's your mental diet, and believe it without evidence in your 3D, the certainty is first created in the mind, in consciousness, in imagination. It is your most powerful tool. You imagine it, you believe it, you feel the shift from within, you operate from that version. You don't have to prove it to anybody or anything outside of you. Remember, whatever you're believing, you're pushing out, and the mirror will reflect it back. The echo will show it back to you. Will you send out like a sound, and the echo sends it back to you when you're screaming in a forest? It's the same concept. Or the mirror, you're looking in a mirror and it reflects it back to you. You are always the cause, the external world is the effect. So you change yourself. You contradict whatever you're trying to draw in when you react to the 3D, and then anchor in old beliefs that you're trying to reprogram and replace. If you're trying to reprogram, I'm not good enough, and something triggers you, instead of, oh, see, that's why I never get what I want, you're anchoring, those are affirmations. Those are negative affirmations, but you're anchoring in unwanted things. You're anchoring in things you don't want. Those are affirmations. Anything that you double down on and you affirm that's negative, that's not serving you, that's essentially an affirmation. And it's a terrible affirmation. Criticisms, self-deprecating humor, all of those things, you're contradicting what you want to draw in, that you're worthy, that you're more than good enough, that we live in an abundant universe, that you always get what you want, that you're always treated well. You shift yourself from within. Whatever you're believing and assuming about yourself, your concept of self, you're sending that out like a signal. And then that signal will be reflected back to you in the people and the circumstances and everything and anything that shows up in your life. You're always a creator. And if you take 100% responsibility for everything that you align with in your life, without blame, without beating yourself up, and I told that to my group today. I said, we have to be compassionate and loving with ourselves. And listen, I'm a perfectionist, or I have been. See, that's a limiting belief. And I could tend to be hard on myself. And so how would I talk to someone I love with compassion, with love? And so be easy with yourself and be like, okay, I can shift this. I can change this. Circumstances don't matter. And then you soothe yourself. You soothe that wounded little child within you, and you remind yourself that you're so worthy and you're so deserving, and it's going to be okay, and that you always get what you want, and that everything is aligning in your favor. And you stop contradicting the belief. And once you get an awareness of, oh, I'm contradicting my belief. Like if you want to make more money, but then when a bill shows up, oh, I just never have enough money. I have a friend, and I need to tell her. I have a friend who's constantly contradicting. I just got this awareness today, and I need to tell her in a loving way. But although she's not asking me for advice, right? Giving people unwanted advice. So she's contradicting the belief by saying, I can't wait till I have enough. I can't wait till I start making more. But then another bill shows up. If you're affirming that bills show up or something happens or you're catastrophizing, you're contradicting the belief that you live in excess and overflow, that you live in an abundance of money, that you always have more than enough money, that you're a great money manager, that money comes to you from multiple different places. So what are you affirming? If you're criticizing, if you want a relationship and a loving relationship and a man to treat you well, but then you get around with your girlfriends and you're talking about all men suck and all men are terrible and relationships suck, you're contradicting your manifestation and your desire. So all those little ways we can contradict. Or you want to feel abundant and money's coming in, and then all of a sudden you watch the news and it triggers you. And you're like, yeah, but the news said. And it's just programming you. And I heard this somewhere else. We're always being programmed. If we don't take responsibility for programming ourselves, the external world, people, the news, culture, society, our family will try to program us based on their own fears and limiting beliefs. So you program yourself. Don't leave it in somebody else's hands. You get to decide. And that's the mental diet. The mental diet of, nope, not in my reality. In my reality, it always works out for me. It always benefits me. I'm always supported. Life always says yes. Everything always works out in my favor. And then you start releasing all those limiting beliefs. Yes, relationships are beautiful. Yes, there's good men out there. Yes, I'm a great woman. Yes, I'm a great money manager. Yes, money's always flowing into my life with ease and flow. I don't have to work hard or struggle. I don't have to toil to survive, to live a life. I can live a comfortable life. So whatever it is you decide, Whatever you envision for your ideal life, you get to create. I want you to pay attention to where you may be contradicting whatever you're affirming for. If you're affirming for something, make sure you're not contradicting in those sneaky ways that can come into our life because we're anchoring those beliefs in. And then we wonder, why did this show up in my life? Well, because we're in a circle affirming negative beliefs or limiting beliefs or unwanted circumstances in our groups with our friends by watching the news, and we're letting fear run amok. And remember, fear is just based on old beliefs, but you get to realize or you get to determine whether it's true for you or not by soothing yourself, by saying, no, this isn't true, and then shifting your attention. Whatever you give your attention and your energy to, you're magnifying. So are you contradicting whatever you want to draw in? If and I want you to look in your comments or the emails you send me or the comments that you put in the videos. If you're telling me I want to manifest this, but it's a slow process, that means you're in the 3D reacting through to the 3D. You're not trusting and believing. And so you haven't shifted within. And manifesting is not about getting something, it's about being. If I was the version of me who already had that money and the bike and whatever it is I wanted, how would I be and how would I operate? I know it's coming. And so that's the work, the techniques, what you operate from. And you believe it and create it first in the mind without seeing evidence of it. You feel the shift within and you know it's coming in your trust. And when you're not worried about it and looking for proof that things are shifting, that's when it shows up. And I want to tell you, because he also said nothing has happened. That's a belief. That's a limiting belief, and that's an affirmation. Nothing has happened. So if you're saying and believing nothing has happened, well, then that's what the 3D is going to show you. Nothing happening, but staying in that hamster wheel. You interrupt the pattern by saying, oh, things are shifting, things are changing. You have to brainwash yourself into believing without contradicting the belief that you always get what you want. Things are aligning in your favor, and the 3D is conforming to whatever you're programming in your mind. You're always the cause. Okay? I hope that helps. Thank you for joining me on this video. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.